Have you ever observed how certain individuals appear to wield an almost magical influence over their surroundings? They don't need to speak loudly, shout, or plead. They simply step back, and the atmosphere transforms. The energy in the room shifts. People begin to question, to pursue, to sense a change. Consider what would happen if you adopted a similar approach. What if you ceased reacting instantly to every stimulus, opting for silence rather than an automatic retort, or withdrawal instead of an outburst? What kind of impact do you think that would have? The key insight here is that when you stop being perpetually accessible, whether emotionally, physically, or psychologically, the dynamics around you are thrown into disarray. People are accustomed to manipulating you through your predictable responses and reactions. But the moment you choose to step back, the dynamics shift dramatically. Those who thought they had you figured out will suddenly realize they don't know you at all. Carl Jung once remarked, "Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to a better understanding of ourselves." Reflect on this when you become unreachable. Who becomes desperate? Who grows agitated? Who tries to provoke a reaction from you? These reactions reveal more about them than they do about you. They highlight how easily you can be manipulated without even realizing it. You constantly give of yourself in an effort to please, to maintain harmony, to avoid losing people who were never truly with you to begin with. With each reluctant yes, each hasty reply, each emotional outburst, you relinquish a fragment of your energy. By the end of the day, all that remains is exhaustion, frustration, and an inexplicable sense of emptiness. But let me explain why you are overly available to those who don't deserve even a moment of your silence. This message isn't about turning away from the world. It's about making a conscious choice to prioritize yourself. It's about embracing what Jung termed individuation, the journey toward becoming whole, authentic, and complete. This transformation starts when you recognize that silence can be more powerful than any argument. That withdrawing, when done with awareness rather than as an escape, is an act of strength. So I ask you, looking deep into your eyes, how long will you allow others' emotions to control you? How long will you continue to react like a puppet every time someone prods your vulnerabilities? Perhaps it's time to sever those strings, to step back, to become an enigma. Because when you stop being constantly available, everything changes. Expanded and detailed version. Introduction. Have you ever noticed how some people seem to have an almost supernatural control over the environment around them? Without saying a word, they don't shout, they don't beg, they simply withdraw. And suddenly everything changes. The energy shifts. People start to question, to chase after, to feel the power of silence. Imagine if you did the same, if you stopped reacting immediately to everything, if you chose silence instead of the automatic response, retreat instead of explosion. What do you think would happen? That's where the point lies. When you stop being always available, emotionally, physically, psychologically, the world around you goes into crisis because people are used to controlling you through your reactions, through your impulses, through your predictability. But the day you choose to withdraw, the game changes, and those who thought they knew you realize they know absolutely nothing about you. Carl Jung's insight. Carl Jung said, "Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to a better understanding of ourselves." Now think about this: when you become inaccessible, who really gets desperate? Who gets irritated? Who tries to provoke you just to elicit some emotion back? This reveals more about the other than about you, and it mainly reveals how much you are still being manipulated without realizing it. The cost of constant availability. You keep giving yourself to please, to maintain peace, to not lose people who deep down were never really with you. And with every forced yes, every immediate response, every emotional reaction, you give away a piece of your energy. At the end of the day, what's left is tiredness, frustration, and an emptiness you can't explain. But I'll tell you why, because you are too available for those who don't deserve even a minute of your silence. Choosing yourself. This message isn't about turning your back on the world. It's about choosing yourself. It's about learning what Jung called individuation, the process of becoming whole, authentic, complete. And this process begins when you understand that silence can be stronger than 1,000 arguments, that withdrawal, when it comes from awareness and not from escape, is an act of power. The transformation begins. So I ask you now, looking into your eyes, how long will you continue to be controlled by the emotions of others? How long will you react like a puppet every time someone pokes your wound? Maybe it's time to cut those strings, to withdraw, to become a mystery. Because when you stop being available, everything changes. The journey of individuation. Individuation is not just a psychological term. It's a profound journey of self-discovery. It's about recognizing that your worth is not defined by how available you are to others, but by how true you are to yourself. When you choose to step back, you create space for self-reflection and growth. You begin to understand your own needs, desires, and boundaries. The power of conscious withdrawal. Conscious withdrawal is not about running away from problems. It's about taking control of your own energy. It's about recognizing that your reactions can be used against you and choosing to step back to regain your power. When you withdraw consciously, you send a powerful message. You are no longer a pawn in someone else's game. The role of silence. Silence is not the absence of voice. It is the mastery over your own energy. It is the refusal to be dragged down by someone else's emotions. It is the conscious choice not to engage in battles that are not worth your wear. Jung said that individuation requires this distancing because only in silence can you listen to yourself without the world's interference. The cost of silence. Silence has a price. It will distance you from people who only valued you for the role you played. It will make you incomprehensible to those who only saw you through their own projections. It will make you seem cold, distant, arrogant. But all of this is a reaction from those who never wanted to deal with your depth, only with your utility. The rebirth of the self. When you choose to step back, you begin a process of rebirth. You start to reconnect with your essence, to recover your vital energy. You begin to understand that your worth is not defined by how available you are to others, but by how true you are to yourself. This is the start of a new kind of power, a power that comes from within. Conclusion. So I ask you again, how long will you continue to be controlled by the emotions of others? How long will you react like a puppet every time someone pokes your wound? Maybe it's time to sever those strings, to step back, to become an enigma. Because when you stop being constantly available, everything changes. You will lose people, but you will find yourself. You will distance yourself from places, but you will reconnect with your essence. You will become misunderstood, but finally you will begin to be respected. Final thoughts. In the end, the journey of individuation is about becoming whole, authentic, and complete. It's about recognizing that your worth is not defined by how available you are to others, but by how true you are to yourself. When you choose to step back, you create space for self-reflection and growth. You begin to understand your own needs, desires, and boundaries. This is the start of a new kind of power, a power that comes from within.